Okay, so on to the next track in Raza's Martian Sonic Odyssey series, man. It's been a great series so far. There's two really standout performances that I've really enjoyed on this particular series. If you're only hopping on now and you love Hua Chenyu, then I suggest you go back, because I think we've done like five or six before this, and you guys can go and take a look at those, man. It's all fantastic, and there's lots of Hua Chenyu still coming. So if you love Hua Chenyu, then this series is for you, man. Let's rock and roll. Let's see what we've got over here. This is Hua Chenyu, Dad, I Am Home. Never heard this one. We've heard quite a lot of Hua Chenyu before, and the majority of it is brought by Raza Rage. But these are all new, man. Let's rock and roll. Let's see what we got. So fan cam. Hopefully the sound's okay on this one. Fan cams can get a bit wishy-washy.
今天这首歌可能这首歌我用了一种很不一样的一种艺术方式来表达，可能会跟大家想的不太一样，希望大家可以喜欢。
So I basically said, for those of you who couldn't read the actual subtitles over there, he said he's just going to use a different artistic style to perform this one. And he doesn't know if people will like it or because they're not used to it. But let's see.
希望大家可以喜欢。
Where are we going? Lots of silence, a lot of suspense here. You know, the lady's like, it's almost like he had to psych himself in. We've got subtitles, which is great.
我听说，通常在战争后，就会换来和平。但为什么我看到我的爸爸一直逃跑？
They say usually after a war there will be peace, but then why do I constantly see my dad hitting my mom? So coming from an abusive home? So as a child, like, that's something that's very difficult to comprehend. It's like, but I thought this fight was over, but yet my mom's still being battered. I'm not entirely sure if this is actually true to him or relevant to his life, or it's just maybe something that he's just singing about. But there's a lot of people in this world that go through this abuse of life. I did. That's a story for another day. Let's go.
爸爸一直逃跑，就因为喝醉酒，他就能拿我妈出气。我每次真的看不下去，可是又没有办法。那时候我的年纪还太小，从小到大，我只有在妈妈身上才能感受到温暖。我总是在想，为什么我的爸爸会那么凶？ 然而我到现在都没有找到答案。
Why is your dad so fierce? He says, until now, I asked myself, why is my dad so fierce? It's like, until now, I can't find the answer. He says, I still can't find the answer as to why my dad is so fierce. It's because of his own insecurities. It's because of his own things that he went through in his childhood. Like, you got to go back and you got to see, like, what did my dad see? What life was my dad experiencing when he was growing up? What did he see? What was his environment? Right? Obviously, there's anomalies to it where you could have had, like people who had great upbringings and not go to that, but more likely than not, statistically, it's people that have seen that are the people that are going to be that. Essentially, they can't see anything else. They weren't taught to control their emotions. They weren't taught to sort of channel those emotions correctly, and that's how it literally sort of manifests down the line. Do you know what I mean? It metastasizes into something really, really ugly. Do you know what I mean? And it comes from somewhere. It doesn't just like, it's just fierce for no reason. There are insecurities at play. There's pain at play. There's trauma at play. There's a whole bunch of things at play that has created him to be this person that can no longer control himself and control his emotion. That's why it is unbelievably important to have a stable, strong father figure in the house, because a father figure is what guides the child. And a father figure is what gets a child to control their emotions. They can't just flip out because they're angry. They need to channel those emotions into something productive. That's why it is so important to have stable fathers in the house that are invested in their children, to not bring up children in a way that they would turn to violence because they can't control their emotions.
然而我到现在都没有找到答案。如果真的我有一双翅膀可以随时出发的话，我一定会偷偷地带着我妈离开这个家。不要这样打我，妈妈。我说的话你会听吗？不要这样打我，妈妈。难道你手不会痛吗？其实别人的家庭，别人的爸爸，种种的暴力因素一定都会有原因的，但是呢，妈跟我都没有错，却还是离不开暴力。
So he's literally singing the song from a child's perspective, a child who doesn't actually understand. It's like, what have we done wrong? And it's not about what they've done wrong. It's about the fact that they've got an unstable person in the house that cannot control their emotions when they get angry, and they're so cowardly to the point that when they get drunk and they're going through their whole chaos of their lives, right, it gives them power to go and abuse the powerless, right? Unbelievably cowardly shit that deserves to be beaten to a pulp, right? It's cowardly. It's absolutely cowardly. If I mean, that's not a man. A man who feels that they have the power, but only over the powerless, like a child. More specifically, a child. I mean, you put the fucking man 10 feet deep, literally 10 feet deep. I put his fucking head in the dirt. If you had to see people abuse children like that, but these are cowardly men. These are cowardly people that were never taught to control their emotions, right? These are cowardly people who think that they are more of a powerful being if they, but put them up against another man, and then all of a sudden they become puppies. All of a sudden they become like these soft, fragile, nimble idiots, right? Because they're cowards. But anyway, carry on.
亏我还叫你一声爸。从小到大，你都叫我学习，把你当榜样。好一个家乡！
I don't look up to my father, but I did learn a lot from my father. You know what I mean? From his wrongdoings and from things that he did that were good. Right? He taught me a lot in my life. He taught me how to be strong. He taught me how to be fearless. He actually did teach me that. He wasn't the greatest role model, sure. I don't look up to him. But there are lots of things that he taught me in my life that if it wasn't for him, there would have been a lot of things in my life that I would have folded already. I would have folded and I would have given up. And because of his lessons, I did not. I took things on head on. I don't run away from problems, I run towards them. Because running away just doesn't solve anything and it just makes you a coward. So, yeah, there were things that, not that he ever ran towards problems, he ran away from problems. Those are one of the things that I learned to not do. So there were things that I learned of his that I must not be like him, and there were things that I learned of his that were, taking those things were very beneficial to me, right? Taking that survival instinct, that regardless of what happens in your life, you need to stay strong. You never fold. You know what I mean? Always chin up. I took that from him. Lessons of learn absolutely everything you can learn because you don't know when you're going to need it, right? Stop acting like you know better than everybody else and shut up and learn. That was one of the things I remembered with my father, where he always used to tell me, if you don't know, shut up and learn. Stop acting like you know when you don't know. Shut up and learn if you don't know. You know what I mean? He taught me that. He taught me that virtue. You know what I mean? Because I always, no. Well, if you fucking know, then you do it. But then I didn't know. He's like, oh, okay, so you don't know. So shut up and learn. That's one thing I learned from my father as well. I learned from my father that, I never got any hugs or love from my father. He was a very hard man. But the one thing I did appreciate from my father is when small things came around, when like all these adversities came around, my dad would be buck up. Oh no, but dad, or this and this, I don't care. Buck up. Be a man. Be a man, buck up. People think, oh, that might be insensitive. That was one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned in my life. The world is not fair. No one cares for my excuses. Nobody cares for my trials and tribulations. They all have their own life. Shut up, buck up. It's your fucking problem, not mine. Don't make your problems mine. That was one of his little sayings as well. It's not my fucking problem. You caused it. You made your bed. You fucking sleep in it. Figure out a way to solve it. Right? So yeah, it was harsh. It was hard. Specifically for a child. But if I had to go back and do it all over again, I'd probably leave it the way it is. It taught me something quite valuable.
妈妈常说，你要乖啊，要多听你爸的话。你教我怎么听你的话？你教我怎么跟你像啊？你教我怎么跟你像啊？ 教我怎么跟你像啊
Wow. His delivery here is
教我怎么跟你像啊不要这样的我妈妈我说了话你会听吗
Hua Chenyu is the perfect artist for this kind of music. right? Because of how he delivers it. He delivers the pain. He delivers that emotion. He puts you in the picture. He puts you literally straight into that scenario in your head, right? He makes you feel his agony just by the way he performs it. So he's so good with pieces like this. He really, really is. Just look at his face. Just look at his face. This dude's insane. He doesn't want that disconnection from his father. It's like he doesn't want to disconnect from his father. He just wants his father to stop doing because he loves his father, right? But he just wants his father to stop hurting the other person he loves. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like he's in between a rock and a hard place. He doesn't know what to do. And as a child, that is just earth-shattering, man. Heavy. Okay, we're done there. Phew, that was heavy. That was a heavy song, man. But yeah, songs like this are unbelievably important because, you know, it gets people to look at their own lives and look at their own pasts and deal with those kind of things, because a lot of people come from homes like this. More than you think, right? More than you can possibly imagine. And yeah, sometimes what can actually save someone's life is Hua Chenyu just, you know, making it okay for you to let that go. Anyway, I love you all, man. Please stay safe, please stay healthy. I'll catch you on the next one.